Welcome in to Make Your Money Matter. I'm your host, Brad Barrett. Today, friends, we're going to talk about probably the most important thing you should know about investing, the rule of 72. And we're going to tell it through the lens of the grain of rice fable. So a little story time today, and I promise you it's worth your time. So please stay tuned into this, because if there's nothing else you hear on our channel, or really anywhere else for that matter, this is so important. But before we get started, make sure to smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. All right, let's get into it. So as many of you who have followed our show and any clients watching here, I've talked about the rule of 72 often, especially for younger investors, but really it pertains to everybody. Now, the grain of rice fable, I think, is a great story and analogy to use. So listen up here. So long ago in India, there lived a Raja who believed he was wise and fair, and as a Raja should be, and the people in his province were rice farmers. The Raja decreed that everyone must give nearly all of their rice to him. He said, "I will store the rice safely so that in the time of a famine, everyone will have rice to eat and no one will go hungry." Now, each year, the Raja's rice collectors gathered nearly all the people's rice and carried it away to the royal storehouses. Now, for many years, the rice grew well and the people gave nearly all of their rice to the Raja, and the storehouses were always full. But the people really were left with only enough rice to get by. And then one year, the rice grew badly, and there was, in fact, a famine and hunger, and the people had no rice to give. Now, the Raja's ministers implored him, "Your Highness, let us open up the royal storehouses. They're full. Let us give the rice to the people as you promised." Now, the Raja, he goes, "How do I know how long the famine will last? I must have the rice for myself. Promise or no promise, a Raja must not go hungry." Friends, obviously, you can see in this story so far, pride comes before the fall, but I digress. Now, time went on, and the people grew more and more hungry, but the Raja would not give out the rice. Now, one day, the Raja ordered this big feast for himself and his court, and it's as it would be for a Raja should have now and then. Even during a famine, he felt, I should have a feast for myself. And a servant actually was leading an elephant from a royal storehouse to the palace, carrying 2 full baskets of rice for his feast. And a village girl named Rani saw that a trickle of rice was falling from one of the baskets. And she quickly jumped up and, walked along beside the elephant, catching the falling rice in her skirt. She was clever, and she began to make a plan. Now at the palace, a guard cried, "Halt, thief! Where are you going with that?" Now, Rani basically responded right away, "I'm not a thief," Rani replied. "This rice fell from one of the baskets, and I'm returning it now to the Raja again." She's clever. You see where I'm going with this? Now, when the Raja heard about this, Rani's good deed, he asked his ministers to bring her before him. "I wish to reward you for returning what belongs to me," the Raja said to Rani. "Now ask me for anything and you shall have it." "Your Highness," Rani said, "I do not deserve any reward at all, but if you wish, you may give me 1 grain of rice." He goes, "Wait, only 1 grain of rice?" explained the Raja. "Surely allow me to reward you more plentifully, as a Raja should." "Very well," Rani said. "If it pleases your Highness, you may reward me in this way." Now stay tuned, all right? "You will give me a single grain of rice, Raja. Then on day 1, then each day for the next 30 days, you will give me double the rice you gave me the day before. Thus tomorrow, you'll give me 2 grains of rice. The next day after that, 4 grains of rice, and so on and so forth." So for 30 days, the Raja goes, "Well, this seems to be a modest reward, but you shall have it." And Rani was presented with a single grain of rice. The next day, Rani was presented with 2 grains of rice. Now on the 9th day, if you do the math, Rani was presented with 256 grains of rice, right? And she had received in all like 511 grains of rice, enough for only a small handful really at that point. But this girl, honest but not very clever, thought the Raja, that's what he was thinking, right? She would have gained more rice by keeping it, what fell into her skirt. But as time went on, you'll see what happens here. On the 16th day, Rani was presented with a bag containing 32,768 grains of rice. Now altogether, she had enough rice for 2 full bags. This doubling adds up to more rice than I expected, thought the Raja, but surely her reward won't amount to much more. Now, on the 21st day, 21 days in, she received 1,048,576 grains of rice, which is enough to fill a whole basket. On the 27th day, 22 bowls, big old bowls, were needed to deliver 64 baskets of rice. The Raja was deeply troubled by this. 1 grain of rice, he's thinking, has grown, very great indeed, he thought, but I shall fulfill the reward to the end as a Raja should. On the 29th day, Rani was presented with the contents of 2 full royal storehouses. And on the 30th and final day, 256 elephants crossed the province carrying the contents of the last 4 royal storehouses, nearly 536,870,912 grains of rice. Yes, we did the math. Now, altogether, Ronnie had received more than 1 billion grains of rice. The Raja had no more rice to give. And what will you do with this rice? So the Raja, with a sigh, now that I have none, Ronnie said this, I shall give it to the hungry people. And I shall leave a basket of rice for you too, Raja, if you promise from now on to take only as much rice as you need. I promise, said the Raja. And for the rest of his days, the Raja was truly wise and fair, as a Raja should be. Friends, what I just described to you through a parable, and if you listen along there, I think it's a cute one to kind of go through. If you think about it, it's essentially compound interest. Ronnie knew it, but the Raja didn't. Obviously, the Raja didn't have a financial advisor, right? This is the real power, I think, of what compound interest means. And as you notice in this parable, be like Ronnie. Understand that growth really starts accelerating the more time you give it, right? Let's put it into context of a modern day for a second. If I were to say to you, would you rather have $1 million right now or 1 penny that doubles every day for 1 month? If you listen along to this parable, you likely are going to choose the latter. Now, if you do the math, remember, we're talking about $1 versus a grain of rice here to bring it in modern day. You don't really even get past $100 on that penny analogy until like day 15. Then you finally pass $1 million. Remember, the equivalent to what you would have been offered on day 1. You don't even pass $1 million until day 28. The key takeaway from all this is to start investing early and often. The biggest gains and returns always happen later. Friends, that's an analogy for life, right? Not just investing. If you start investing in your portfolio today, and let's say you earn a modest, hypothetical 6% rate of return, that might not seem like a lot of money today, but in 30 years, earning a 6% return, average return throughout your life, you'll start seeing huge returns later in life as you approach, I think, more of the pivotal years when it comes to your money, like retirement. Remember, investing is a long-term endeavor. You shouldn't be looking to double your money in 3 to 5 years, like most people are thinking, okay? You should be looking to grow your money over time. Remember, the Rule of 72 is a great and simple guide to learn how long it takes to double your investment. The Rule of 72 is a great tool that every investor should use. It helps you quickly understand basically how long it will take for your money to double at a certain interest rate. You simply take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate. For example, let's say you earn a hypothetical 9% rate of return, okay? Divided by 72, it'll take you 8 years for your money to double. Friends, focus on this and see how this works for you. And understanding math, like I just shared to you, through a fable, and then through the penny and $1 million analogy, it really matters. Now, if you notice, the Raja should have really consulted, like I said before, a financial advisor. Many times I tell people the value of an advisor is really what you can't see. Analogies like this allow you to see through why it's so important to put everything into context, into holistic planning, especially when it comes to time. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that today. If you did, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. And always remember to make your money matter.